I don't know if you know these two. It seemed very quiet just now. These are the Soskas, Jen and Sylvia. And they are here to introduce their film Rabid and to give them a really warm welcome. Let's make it twice as loud as you just did, because that was embarrassing. So let's go.
Thank you, Grimmfest, for the show of hands. Who was here at Fright when we had our world premiere? Not here, but there. So you've already seen. No spoilers. So you can be laughing in parts where other people are going to be really, really nervous. The truth is, I actually hate remakes. I think that usually they take advantage of the fans, and I consider myself a fan director. Well, when we were approached, yeah, her especially, but when we were approached to remake David Cronenberg's Rabid, I was horrified to think if somebody that didn't love the original creator and the original film was going to do it, because they were going to make it anyway, so it had to be me. We made this film for an audience of one, Mr. David Cronenberg, but if you like him even as remotely as much as we do, you're in for one hell of a treat. So tonight, all of you are about to catch a mutated viral strand of rabies from Canada. And we couldn't be happier! Thank you, Grimmfest! I'll see who's still standing at the end of the movie. And we'll be here to hug everybody. Thank you for everybody. Thanks for everybody. Pictures for everybody. One won't go home until you get your hug.
Film. All right. Wow, some love in this room. Joy, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So without further ado, if I could welcome these two beautiful human beings, Jen and Sylvia Soska. Oh, we will speak about the tentacle. I
have to.
Quite fun. Okay, but let's start with the serious questions, so people think that, you know, we're serious or something. Why, why make this movie now?
Well, the cool thing about David Cronenberg is 41 years ago, when he did this, he anticipated stem cell manipulation before it was actually a science. And I don't know how many of you guys are studied up on transhumanism now that you've watched that way more. But, you know, like, all of that stuff is really advancing right now. I mean, if you even look at the news, they have half rat, half human hybrid, half sheep. And how long are we going to be so that we're getting, like, not the good, like, lungs that all the rich people are getting? So I thought there was so much stuff you could play with in that. What she said.
Well put, well put. So, in 1977, when Cronenberg had his Rabid come out, it was very much a comparison of the AIDS epidemic, looking at how some people were just considered beyond medical help. What's that like now? What was your interpretation with Rabid?
Well, the infection I believe that we're facing now is an infection of the mind, and you see it a little bit here, but you don't see it as predominantly as you see in North American culture. They are always being kept negative, hateful headlines, no matter what side you've picked. You're both angry, raving lunatics. And you watch that, America's no longer drafting people. They're radicalizing young people in their streets. And it's becoming an epidemic. It's heading towards a civil war that everyone's joking about, but it's going to be happening sooner than later. When you become rabid, you become like a hateful person. And that's another thing we're speaking of. So you see people in this imaginary world being just awful to each other. You don't really know that they have rabies because people so casually treat each other like shit for no reason these days. So we really wanted to make people self-aware and show how terrible that looks on the screen.
Yeah, so you picked an interesting setting because now that you have seen the film, it is both gruesome and beautiful. And for this, you picked the fashion world. Now, why would you pick this scene to make a depiction of your story?
Well, a lot of people look at fashion and they're like, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, that must be more of a female centered industry. And yeah, in some points, but it's like so cutthroat and brutal and mean and horrible. And we're thinking, well, Rose is going to get this elective cosmetic surgery. Let's put her in this position where everybody's so obsessed with her physical physical form. And it's funny, she's so obsessed with how she looks. She's got this scar on her face. She even has that like same scarf that Gunter has. Gunter's doing his whole presentation at the beginning just for her. He's got a scar. He's got a scarf. He's like, oh, she's my protege. She gets it. And the whole time she's like, he's making fun of me. Oh, nobody likes me. But that's how we all are. We get so inside our heads we don't even know what's going on. We're also making a commentary on the class system. We look at fashion and we look at medicine. When Rose goes to the first hospital, nobody would want to die in that hospital. I think a lot of the time we give a lot of power to the people that are in power positions, but we forget that doctors are like workers at a supermarket. They hate their clients, they get bored, they get tired, and some of us forget they get paid the exact same amount whether we live or die. So I think it's a terrible thing that there's a class system. I like how in fashion there is the ridiculousness of what they wear. Gunter even says, our fashion is not everybody. And you look at some clothes and it's rent, it's groceries, it's medical bills. It's absolutely, it's insane, the kind of money that we spend on things. And also, as you might hear internationally, they're breeding half humans with like sheep and monkeys. That's because us poor people are going to get the half sheep ones that are untested, and they're going to be like, oh, go ahead, and the Rothschilds are going to have a million other hearts. I'm going to be sheep man. I'm going to be the strongest sheep.
Well, I would like to pick up, because we were already looking at Günther, and I want to start with the word Schadenfreude, which is his, you all know what Schadenfreude is by now, at least. Why would you pick this as the theme? It's the collection, it's the center of everything. Why Schadenfreude?
I knew that people were going to also hate this movie for literally no reason, just because they're, I don't want to say jealous, but I want to say they're not happy with themselves. So as soon as somebody was going to say something shitty about my movie, I can go, Schadenfreude. And it's a big theme of everything. One thing that I'd like to say is, remember when fans used to love the things they were fans of? Yeah. There's so many, if you look at message boards, particularly in America, I'm so sorry, America, but you gotta step up, I live above you. It's just hate. It's just so awful. Anytime a movie comes out, I never read my reviews past a certain point because I don't want to see the, I fucking hate those cunts. And that's always it. I read a review of Rabid that just was about how they don't like how excitable we are and how we speak and what we look like. And I'm like, I'm not even in the film that long. Like, what the hell?
Just too goddamn excitable. What's wrong with you?
I know.
Jeez.
But I like being able to do the Schadenfreude thing because before I was like, oh man, we're going to remake a Cronenberg thing. There's people that are going to hate that even though he remade The Fly. And I was like, well, let him hate it. Use it. That's my armor. That's my couture. I'm going to wear Schadenfreude. Oh, you think I'm stupid? Schadenfreude. I hope you get off on that. Get off on my movie any way you need to.
So going back to Günther, Mackenzie Gray did a fantastic job. Why? Obviously, why would you cast him? But even designing the character from creating the character in itself, just in theory, to hiring Gray to play him. What was the process in that?
Well, we very much wanted this to be a super self-aware remake, which you probably noticed it was. Rose's remaking fashion line with her hero. She doesn't feel that she's worthy of doing it. We're Hungarian. My family is all Eastern European. And sometimes love comes across very harshly. I love how at the beginning of the film you're like, oh, Günther's a bit of an asshole, but at the end he's so sweet. He's so loving. And if Rose wasn't worthy of being in that position, she wouldn't be standing there in the first place. Mackenzie Gray is such an incredible character actor. I was really worried if it was somebody else, they would turn Günther into a caricature, just a laugh. But he very much wanted to make him Carl Lager. Yeah, sorry, I haven't slept for a while. Yeah, and the cool thing also, I don't know, guys, do you know Mackenzie Gray? He's done so many different series. He's so, yeah, right? Mackenzie's awesome. Parents are here. Mackenzie's here. But not only does he do the work, but he's that old style Hollywood, like he'll tell you his Malcolm McDowell stories, he'll tell you his Keeper, he'll tell you all his stories, but he makes sure, if you noticed, every time Gunter was there, he had the models, he had the assistant, he had everybody, and he made sure everybody had a little bit, and he'd practice it out and go through everything. And you don't usually get that when you're working with background artists, and you don't usually get that when you have a star working with background artists, because they're like, oh, this is me, this is no. He wanted to make sure everybody had something, so if they look good, he'd look good too. Like the club where he was coming out, we originally had him coming out with one guy, and he's like, no, I think Gunter should come out with two people, a couple, and they're like, I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it should just be weird, like, what are they even doing? And then they're just like all over each other like that. Like, all of the things around Gunter are magic, because Mackenzie's magic. He just elevated everything.
Okay, super, super quick question before we get to the audience.
We'll do our best.
Yes.
I'll shut up.
Why does the tentacle look like a phallus symbol?
Did it? See, on set I said that was a scorpion tail, and it was coming out of a rose.
Well, okay, now I see it.
Yeah. The
Sorry.
original,
All my fault.
like he had a beautiful, beautiful adult film star, an amazing feminist Marilyn Chambers with her breasts out so much that nobody realized there's a fingering a butthole happening in her armpit. And I just think a butthole is maybe the most unattractive looking opening. So I said this.
There's bleach, but...
Yeah. I also love how in the original Cronenberg snuck in pornographic imagery with the prosthetics, and we knew we weren't going to be able to sneak any hardcore sex stuff, so we did it with prosthetics. They're all consensual.
Yeah. Very beautiful, scorpion rose. So, audience, do you have any questions for the Soskas? Yes, back there. Good sir.
One question is mainly, because Cronenberg's so famous for his use of aesthetics, was there any point that you were really worried that yours wouldn't measure up in any way?
No, I wouldn't have even shown up if I didn't have Masters Effects. They do everything from 6 Feet Under to Handmaid's Tale, and they got us banned off Twitter for this. And then Steve right? And then Steve Kostansky, who also directed The Void, and he was our head designer for the Twisty Troy, like the guy who got tentacles, because when someone got a tentacle, they got super mutated. And then, of course, for the beautiful Cynthia Burrows' appearance later on. It was actually so exciting to get to go back to body horror. I've been doing normal shit for way too long. Normal-ish.
Next question, yes.
Congratulations on the film, ladies.
Thank you.
Your love for Cronenberg is well known, so what was the first Cronenberg film you saw and how old were you?
The Fly and Too Young. And we had to sneak them, so we actually didn't watch our first Cronenberg movies together. I saw Shivers, and I missed the beginning, and we weren't allowed to watch. We had a very conservative house, and I was like, oh, I think these slugs are doing something naughty. And then a few years later, I snuck a Crash, but I missed the beginning again, and I was like, what's going on? And then I figured out it was the same dude, and I was like, this guy knows how to make a movie.
Next question, yes.
Thank you.
See elements of maybe Suspiria.
Oh yes.
Bella John's Possession.
Oh yes.
Maybe Eyes Without Face.
Yes, oh my god, you got a hat trick. Someone give him a prize. I want to have to do an entire Easter egg commentary because there's so many. I can't do a pure commentary because I'd probably just be saying, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and Laura was great, and then there's this. Sorry, you had a question, I cut you off.
No, I was just wondering what kind of horror films influence your direction in general?
Well, for this one, it wasn't necessarily a horror film that really inspired me, but Spider-Man 2. I said she was my Tobey Maguire, kind of my Jeff Goldblum, but really my Tobey Maguire. Just looking at Mary Jane at the beginning, except it's Marilyn Chambers back in the original movie. In the Mouth of Madness, you might have caught a bit of reference to that. Our costume designer, Morgan Shree-Newson, was actually the costume designer of In the Mouth of Madness. And the dogs were trained by the same people who trained the dogs from In the Mouth of Madness. And I had that scene where CM Punk came through the window and I kept saying, like In the Mouth of Madness, Like in the Mouth of Madness. And nobody knew except she was like, oh, I worked on that. I was like, yeah, in the Mouth of Madness. So it was cool.
Excellent. Okay, we have time for one more question. Also hard. You, shout.
Did you actually go out and ask to CM Punk to be in the film? Or did he come to you to audition?
Which one? Phil?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's the story about us and CM Punk. So one day, my phone explodes because he decides to do a double feature of Hobo with a Shotgun and Den Hooker to Trunk. And I got 1 billion followers. I was like, that's so cool. What I didn't know is he also liked American Mary. So we went to everyone who liked horror in the WWE and gave them American Mary, being like, you need to check this out. Then we worked for the WWE, and us and Phil were like, here it goes. And we worked with Kane. And then we worked with Big Show, and he was like, what the fuck? So as soon as I got this job, I messaged him right away because I knew he was a Cronenberg fan and he liked zombies, and I thought Rabid was close enough. He was like, Phil, we're remaking Rabid. Will you be the love interest? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then they're like, you can't have an American there. I was like, shit. Will you play this other guy? He's like, I hate that guy. I'm like, will you play him? He's like, sure. Super easy. Also, I never get CM Punk to audition. He's already so talented. And if you can direct and your actor has a body of work, don't make them audition. It's so insulting and it really freaks them out. It's such a nerve inducing it, especially for wrestlers. Wrestlers are so beaten down by Vince McMahon. Just make it as easy as this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I feel terrible for interrupting this Q&A. I could listen to these ladies all night. I'm sure you could as well.
You already have had your time.
I have had my time. I've had my time today. We do have a bit of important business to get through, just quickly, if everyone could stay in their seats, because we at the Horror Channel have been following these wonderful women's careers for 10 years now, I guess. I mean, since you first put a dead hooker in a trunk. We followed you through the brutal beauty of American Mary. We've watched you bring Kane back to life in See No Evil 2. And beyond that, we've admired your work in blood drive awareness. You've been game show hosts, comic book authors. Have I missed anything?
We co-wrote the Deadpool XXX porn parody, but actually
There you go, porn.
put our name
I didn't
on it
mention
'cause we
porn.
thought we'd
I
be
should have mentioned
insulted.
porn, and the porn's in there.
We have a special thanks though. If you like porn and you like Deadpool, good times.
There you go. But more important than that, obviously, it's the work that they do, both representing and furthering the cause of female filmmakers, both in the industry and the genre, and I think that is all most important. So it is a great pleasure, very proud to give the Grimmfest Horror Channel Achievement in Horror Award this year to Jen and Sylvia Soska.
So guys, sorry. So, because we're running out of time, guys, Soska's gonna be outside now. So if you want to come and say hello, get something signed, get a photograph, I'm sure you'll be.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be.
We'll be out all
Okay,
night.
okay.
I'm a little verklempt, guys, but I want to say before this movie, Jennifer and I didn't know if we were going to continue doing this. This changed it. I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Thank you. No, this is a really
Give a round
hard
of applause.
experience. Thank you for healing us.